What's up, duelists? This past weekend was RBET Online. We got the top 8 deck lists for you guys, plus a little bonus deck list action, but a little bit of a pre-roll before we get into that. RBET Los Angeles next season is going to be on February 15th and 16th. It's going to be at Collectors Expo. It's going to be presented by Toyota. If you guys want to come to this, signups are now open. It's going to sell out very, very quickly. You can find a link to the signups in the description below. The $50 registration fee will also get you into the convention for the whole weekend. There will be prominent voice actors there like Dan Green and Eric Stewart, who are prominent voice actors from the Yu-Gi-Oh anime. And there will be amazing prizes as usual, including stuff from Yggdrasil Materias, some really, really cool playmats from Yggdrasil Materias. And you know how it goes, the Ultimate Rare, Caius the Shadow Monarch, etc. All that good stuff. So, yeah, sign up for this before it sells out. All right, let's get into the decks. 8th place, or I guess because the tournament's double elimination, the bottom 4 are just all the same place. It's 5th through 8th. So the 8th place deck lists are going to be Ungo Abi, which is frog player. Very, very powerful frog player. He's topped RBET before with frogs, and this was no exception for him. He played triple Caius, triple Ryza. They definitely helped him in his victory to make it all the way through the losers bracket to top 8. He played Triple Miracle and Future Fusion, Double Fader Gores. Pretty no bullshit deck list. It looks very straightforward. He has the Stratos, Alias, Evil Guy, Infernal Guy package. The sideboard has the Double Vanities with a Dark Dust. I like Dark Dust in the mirror a lot. I think it's pretty good. It might not be as good as Vanities, but if they've already set up the dupe block, it's a little bit better than Vanities in those instances. Plus, it's just a repeatable threat that you can keep spamming. Double Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. I actually quite like this card in this deck. It prevents your own Treeborns from being banished, and it lets you play under things like Mask of Restrict. Sideboarded Trag is interesting. I wonder why he sided that. He's got Dust Shoot in the main, Water Art, Mind Crush, you know the vibes. Very straightforward stuff. I do like this deck quite a bit. We saw him do some pretty disgusting things in the stream, so make sure you catch the stream. Shout out to Ungo for making top 8 and earning his invite. Next top 8 list is Avalanche_M. Avalanche played Vayu Turbo this weekend, and Avalanche decided to play full 3 copies of Caius the Shadow Monarch as a 41st card, and they actually did come into play quite a bit for Avalanche. No Solemn Judgment in the list, no Royal Oppression in the list. Very interesting not playing those 2 cards, but was playing the Chaos Sorcerer, so pretty interesting stuff. Only 2 Sirocco. I wonder if that Sirocco was one of the cards that was cut for the 3rd Caius. I do like 3 Caius in this deck. I think that Caius is one of the best cards against Blackwings and in the mirror, so yeah, it's definitely one of the best cards. It's also good against frogs too, so might as well just max it out. Side deck looks very straightforward with a little Starlight Road, that's hilarious. Starlight Road cheekiness, The Solemn is in the side. I wonder what he's siding it in for. I don't know. Maybe just for decks that are not like trying to aggro you out, I guess. Maybe it's good against only frogs. I don't know. I don't know why people don't start Solemn in this deck. I think Solemn's pretty busted, but hey, that's just me. He's maining Gores too, so yeah, just all the broken stuff. No Book of Moon, no Elfin, no Spooner Boy nonsense, but it got him all the way to top 8, which is pretty dope. Congratulations to Avalanche M on, I believe, their first top 8 at an RBET. All right, moving on. Next. We've got Duck Tracy with Hybrid Blackwings, and the next list is also Hybrid Blackwings. Very similar list, so we'll get into both of them at the same time. Scoosh and Duck Tracy, both top 8'd with Hybrid Blackwings. This deck looked very good on camera, except for I didn't think the Raikos looked that good. Every time that they drew them, they kind of looked a little bit lackluster. I believe both players are only playing 1 Blizzard. I think that that's just horrible. I think you should definitely play more than 1 Blizzard. I also think that when you're playing these types of lists with triple Vayu, triple Sirocco, you definitely have to consider the 3rd Grepher, but it looks like it worked out because they are playing Rhoda as a 3rd copy there. They have the full trap lineup with a random D-Prison as a mix-up, which is pretty cool. And Scoosh elected to play a 41st card in Mind Control, as well as playing main deck Trapstun. Both these cards were very good for Scoosh in the Swiss rounds, so if you guys want to watch his Swiss rounds, I think that it was really interesting to see that happen. 1 Bora is something I agree with. 1 Kalut is also something I agree with, but I definitely think you need triple or double Blizzard at the very least, especially when you have such easy ways of getting a 4-star in the grave with Armageddon, Dark Refer, and Raikos. if you're going to play Raikou at all. I don't think you should play Raikou, but if you are, then you should definitely take advantage of the fact that you're going to get 4 stars engraved very consistently, and Blizzard's going to be your best card. So, yeah. I do like the hybrid nature of this deck. I do like playing Black Whirlwind. I think that that's like definitely what Vayu Turbo should be doing moving forward, is just leaning into the Blackwing part of the deck, because Black Whirlwind gives you, I don't know, just gives you a higher ceiling on a deck that is otherwise kind of slow. And that's going to be all for the Blackwing decks for the rest of this top 8. But I do think that this list is kind of a good mix of both. The number one card I wanted to focus on here is actually Necrogardna. I think that if you take anything from this deck, the Armageddon and Necrogardna was really good for both players, I noticed. In the mirror match and against other decks, like when they're trying to beat you down with Titanium, or beat you down with, like, I don't know, just a scary threat and you just need an extra turn. Or if you're just in a damage race, or if your opponent's like Sirocco pumping, it stops their Sirocco pump running over yours. So Necrogardna definitely a key card in this top 8, and it definitely worked out really well for both Duck Tracy and Scoosh. I do think that the two Raikous, it's a little bit silly to include Raikou over Blizzard in a deck like this, but that's just my opinion. I do like one Blizzard, one Kalut. I've tried that myself, and I've had good results. I also personally like siding out Kalut in the decks that play 3 of them a lot more than most people do, because I think that it kind of plays into sideboard cards even worse. It's kind of like when you're playing Blackwings, your opponent's going to side spot removal, because then it turns your Black Whirlwinds, your Icarus, and your Deck Div into card disadvantage. And it also makes your Kalut significantly worse if your monsters are being spot removed. So I usually side out Kaluts. But yeah, just starting one means you don't have to side them out, which is kind of nice. All right, moving on. Top 4. 4th place, we have Keza Pones with Theft Amaryllis. This is something similar to what No Suck Gaming or Christopher Lindsay has developed on his channel. This is a very interesting list. I really like it. I think it's super cool. It takes advantage of the triple Cyber Valley as a conversion for the double Mark of the Rose, the Brain Control, and the Mind Control. Not actually playing Hidden Armory here, so you always get access to your normal summon, except for when you use Miracle Fertilizer. So yeah, a little bit of a dissonance there with the Miracle Fertilizers in the deck, but Miracle Fertilizer is so powerful, you just kind of have to play it. Whereas Hidden Armory is a little bit... I know people have expressed back and forth feelings on Hidden Armory. I personally really like it, but instead of going for DDR, looks like Keza went for the powerful Return from the Different Dimension for this deck, and is only playing 2 copies of Amaryllis, so yeah, this deck is definitely looking to overwhelm the opponent with card advantage more so than actually burn them out late game with Amaryllis and mill a bunch. So yeah, it looks like it's going to be the draw power from the Cyber Valley that's going to be the way that this deck takes over the game into like late game return type shit. I do think that with only 5 targets, trade-in is probably pretty inconsistent, especially in 42 cards. So that's something that I'm looking at and a little bit concerned by, but it worked out well for Keza. Made it so that they got all the way to top 4. The side deck's very interesting. One thing I learned this weekend is that Cyber Valley's first effect, can't zoom in that far, but Cyber Valley's first effect does actually work under Skill Drain, so that's pretty cool. So siding Skill Drain actually kind of makes a little bit of sense in this deck. Turns into a Skill Drain Plant Miracle Fertilizer deck post board, which works really well in a lot of matchups, especially against Frogs. I think Skill Drain is disgusting against Frogs. It's also really good against Vayu Turbo. This deck just bullies Vayu Turbo. It is pretty good against Blackwings too, because the steel cards are very good against decks that are trying to stick an anchor monster. And Blackwings, as much as it doesn't want to be, is definitely an anchor monster deck. Using Regeki Break instead of Phoenix Wingwind Blast, I like it. I'm going to be honest, I like it. Just remove the threat. If there's something like a JD or a Darkarm Dragon, you just need to blow it up. You can't put it back on top of their deck so that they keep redrawing it. Yeah, I like it. I like the Regeki Breaks. Sideboard, yeah, pretty straightforward. The 1-for-1 in the main deck means you can side Consecrated Light more effectively. Still also siding the 4 pieces of Grave Hate. I do like a minimum of 4 pieces of Grave Hate. Actually 6 if you count the Karma Cuts as well. So yeah, healthy amount of Grave Hate. Healthy amount of monster and spell and trap removal. Dust Tornado, Trapstone, Space Typhoon. Keep the opponent guessing as to what you're on. 1 Starlight Road as well. Lightning Vortex. Just looks great. Great list. Really cool concept from No Suck Gaming, and Keza Pones definitely brought it to the table. So Amaryllis really proving itself, I think, in this tournament, more so than even before. It's had a string of really good results, and I placed it, I think, 2nd or 3rd in my tier list in the last tier list I did, and I do think that that continues to hold true. The deck has a good matchup against Vayu Turbo and Frogs, and I also think it has a pretty good matchup against Blackwings once you have a solid plan for it. and it looks like Keza has a very solid plan for it in Consecrated Light, plenty of removal, and Cyber Valley to buy time. So yeah, I think this is definitely a deck to beat moving forward. It's, in my opinion, if Amaryllis was easier to acquire, I think this would be one of the most popular decks in the format, because I think the only thing holding it back is the fact that Amaryllis is like $60, $70 card. So reprint Amaryllis, I guess. Shout out to Keza. Congrats on top 4. Third place, Schwifty1223. This is Schwifty's first time getting an invite, and he did it with Quick Draw Dandy Warrior. I really like this list. Schwifty and I talked about it a lot leading up to the tournament. We exchanged notes. You'll notice that this list looks very similar to a list I did a video on recently where I got second place in a tournament. I was playing Level Eater. Schwifty decided to forego Level Eater for this event and decided to play one Nimble Mega as well. He also decided to forego Jane for a second Raikou, which makes sense. He is playing the one Trapstone. He said he had his 40th card he was kind of on the fence about, and he asked me for advice, and I said to play the one Book of Moon, and it was great for him every time he drew it on stream. So yeah, glad it worked out well for him. This hero package is something that I think Schwifty kind of innovated himself. It's the one Stratos, one Alias, one Evil Guy, Infernal Guy. This means that when you draw Stratos, it has a target without killing your Future Fusion, and when you draw Alias, you still have a Future Fusion target as well. So it makes your Future Fusion as live as possible and your Stratos as live as possible. And the Evil Guy, Infernal Guy actually fits he fits a role in this deck. You special summon him, you can sack it for Caius, so it helps you turn on 3 Caius, and it's also a debris target, so it helps you turn on 3 debris. Clutch card in this deck definitely being Necrogardna. It won him a lot of situations, as well as the one Trapstone main and one Trapstone sided. This list is really, really resilient. A lot of people, say like, why are you playing 3 Quick Draw? But Quick Draw is just the speed. You need the speed, and you need to see Quick Draw as much as possible. With Future Fusion, you're going to see Dandy even more than usual, so Quick Draw Dandy is going to be live as much as possible. Yeah, it's just really, really solid deck. I actually think Quick Draw Dandy is one of the best ways to fight against Deck Devastation Virus because it's so fast. If your opponent sides in Deck Devs going second, and you just go Quick Draw Dandy, make Drill, like their Deck Dev all of a sudden is just dead. So like, it's the best way for this deck to combat those types of cards is just make your deck faster so that Deck Dev is even more inconsistent than it usually is. He even got Deck Dev'd going second one game and won, and I believe it was his top 8 match, so definitely go check that out. Yeah, really, really sick deck list. Sideboard has the Soul Release Double Crows. No Kaiku in the sideboard. I wonder why he opted to go for no Kaiku the Ghost Destroyer. He's citing double Sirocco for the Bird matchup. Book of Moon, second one for Glads, most likely. Compulsory, Deep Prison, just a bunch of spot removal to shore up your various areas of weakness in each matchup. I do like that his main deck is not super reliant on these flip effects, and I do like that the heroes give you additional things to play under Deck Devastation Virus. That's another reason why I think they're so good. Triple Debris makes sense with the Future Fusion. Double Avarice, it makes sense to slim on Avarice because the deck is more aggressive. You have higher density of payoffs with Triple Caius, Triple Debris, Triple Quick Draw, that you don't really need to go to the super late game where the third Avarice is going to matter that often. The deck is also only playing 1 Hamster, 2 Raikous, 1 Lila, so you're not really milling as much as usual, and I think that is what makes this deck more consistent and more powerful and a little bit more fast. All it takes is like a little bit of a bonus on the speed, and this deck becomes, like, once again, a tier 1 deck. So yeah, I think shouldn't sleep on Quick Draw. This is a particularly incredible performance from Schwifty because he slept through round 1, and because of the nature of double elimination, he had to win 13 matches in a row to get to this point. So he went 13-0 and then lost, which is crazy. So yeah, that's a really, 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 really good performance. If your deck can go 13-0, then it's clearly an insane deck. He beat both of the main deck DDV decks in top 8 to get to this point. So yeah, pretty crazy. Moving on. Second place, Dad 100, another Quick Draw deck. Once again, I predicted Quick Draw would have a good weekend because as I've been playing lately, I figured that Quick Draw has the best matchup into all the Frog decks. One thing Dupe Frog really hates is Debris Dandy. Just hates it. Just absolutely hates it. The way it works is you summon Debris, get Dandelion, you make Black Rose. Chainlink 1 Dandy, Chainlink 2 Black Rose. You blow up the Dupe Frogs for free, basically, and they don't get their effect because they were destroyed Chainlink 2 or higher. So Yeah, this deck is a very proactive and easy way to ignore the dupe block, which means Frogs is just a free roll matchup, usually. Usually, we'll get to that in a second. But yeah, usually anything with high counts of quick draw and debris will beat up on Frogs. And I actually think this deck also beats up on Value Turbo as well as Blackwings is a winnable matchup. It's like not ideal, but yeah, it definitely beats up on Value Turbo like really badly. Any deck with Raikou, these plant decks just bully them. And yeah, it seemed to be the choice this weekend. And yeah, this deck looks really good. Quick Draw Dandy. I've covered Dad 100 before. He won an Ultimate Time Wizard in, I believe, Europe with a very similar list. It was a Quick Draw Amaryllis list. And when I covered it, everyone was like talking shit. And I'm just like, nah, dude, you guys don't understand. Quick Draw is the way to play Amaryllis. And this is the closest it's gotten to winning an RBET, second place. But not quite there yet. Cactus Bouncer, great tech. Really like it from Dad 100. He's got the side deck Cyber Valley. He's main decking the full 3 Miracle, 3 Hidden Armory. I think that's the best way to play this deck personally. I have yet to try the double mark, no Hidden Armory, but I think that the strength of Miracle Fertilizer and Hidden Armory is too high to ignore for me. I think that having a searchable discard outlet like DDR and having searchable, reusable Mark of the Rose is very good. It means you're not breaking on multiple Mark of the Rose early as well. Plus the extra mill from Hidden Armory, it really adds up. Over the course of a tournament, that extra mill won. Sometimes it's going to hit a Dandy, and sometimes it's going to hit an Amaryllis, like every once in a while it's going to hit the card you need to hit in order for you to turn on a dead hand. So yeah, really good. I like his trap lineup too, just like a bunch of one-ofs, keep the opponent guessing. Sideboard has more one-ofs, keep the opponent guessing. Power Pickaxe, powerful card. He's also citing the 1-for-1 Consecrated package with Cyber Valley, so I assume that comes in versus Blackwings. 1-for-1's an interesting card because it gets you Consecrated under deck dev, which is nice. Yeah, Cactus Bouncer great. Side deck, Lava Golem's great. He has the 6 targets for trade-in. He's main decking Bot Lion. I think this is just a concession to the fact that you need a beat stick when Oppression is face up sometimes early on. Bot Lion is just good with Dandy tokens too. It's just a 2500 beater, so yeah, 2500 normal summon is kind of like your Guardian Iados in this deck in a lot of ways, which is you can't understate how strong that card can be in a lot of circumstances. And yeah, once again, Quick Draw Dandy, just one of the most powerful combos in the entire format, and clearly worked out really well for Dad 100 this tournament. And then first place, Chill Phil, repeat first place, which is not something you can say for many people. Repeat topper as well. One of the best players in the format right now, hands down, I think. And just a really cool guy. Happy to see him succeed. He's playing Hero Frogs, and this is the first time Hero Frogs has won an RBET, or Frogs has won an RBET that wasn't like specifically RBET Fullerton. So Frogs finally, making it, getting the gold this tournament in the hands of Chill Phil, very powerful duelist. I believe the last time he won, he was playing Blackwings, so he definitely has some range. He's also played Christius Warren, and I believe he got top 4 at the 200-person Karlsruhe tournament with Christius Warren. So he has an incredible range, plays a bunch of different decks at very high level. And yeah, this list looks very straightforward. It looks strong. I like 5 Monarchs personally. I like 6 if you can make the space for it, but looks like he decided to play the Malicious Edge over the 6th Monarch, which I know some people like to play the Malicious Edge because it gives Stratos a searchable payoff. One main deck Soul Exchange, really busted card. Just mixes people up going second. It's really annoying to play against because you have to play around it even though there's only one. 1-for-1, triple Substitoad, not much to say about the Frog package. He's on 3 Swap Frog instead of 2 Swap Frog, 1 Sangan. I think it makes more sense to play triple Swap Frog in the hero deck because you need a higher density of waters. And Swap Frog also works really well in multiples in openers with Stratos because you'll like pitch to special swap and then you'll bounce to Stratos as well. So I do like that configuration here. The trap lineup is all of the destruction traps, triple break, torrential mirror force with a dust shoot, broken dust shoot, of course. He is playing E-Call. He's got 3 targets for it, so it's pretty consistent. Yeah, just a very, very consistent deck list here. No Battle Fader. All of his defense is coming from his traps and his 1 enemy controller, as well as like Dewfrog and Gores. So that's all of his defense here, but apparently that's all you need. The sideboard, very straightforward. He opted for triple Vanities instead of the double Vanities. He's only playing double Crow. He's playing 1 Breaker. People have said that they like Breaker to break Mask of Restrict and attack over Dyna. That's very interesting, kind of. I think I like Lila a little bit more because it doesn't get hit by pulling the rug. But that being said, if Breaker trades with pulling the rug, are you really that upset about it? Maybe, who knows? Maybe. 1 Super Poly in the side is cool too for the Hero Mirror. 1 Water Art, double D Prison, and triple Dust Tornado. So yeah, just a hyper consistent deck. No bullshit, no bad cards, no cards that could potentially be bricky. He has all of the right tutor options off Rhoda with the Junk Synchron. He maximizes payoffs with 5 Monarchs. I really like this list. I think Chill Phil is my player to watch, I think, heading into RBET Rulers. There haven't been as many players that have had as consistent results as he has, besides maybe GBO. And I think that, like, moving forward, like, we can start having discussions about, like, who was the GOAT this year, you know? Who was the player who has really crushed it? And I think Chill Phil is, like, top of the list for me. I mean, winning 2 RBETs, it doesn't get much better than that. And his bracket, actually, to win this RBET was pretty challenging. He had to face 3 Amaryllis decks, or 3 Amaryllis decks in top 8. He had to play against Dad 100 in Winterside, and then he had to play against, was it 3 Amaryllis or was it 2 Amaryllis? I don't remember. No, he had to play, I don't remember exactly how it lined up, but he had to play against a bunch of plant decks, and usually those beat up on frogs, but his opponents drew a little bit subpar, and he was able to capitalize off of it and take an aggressive lead. He used his resources effectively and was able to take down the whole tournament. I mean, I think in multiple games I watched him in top 8. I mean, you guys can watch the top 8. The VOD is up on the stream or on the channel. But he didn't even draw Miracle Fusion. He was just winning out of, like, outplaying the position with, like, Swap Frog pressure into, like, a malicious edge here and there, and then, like, Junk Synchron making a play here and there. Yeah, he was just, like, he knew exactly what to do in a lot of different situations that were very, like, niche and nuanced, and yeah, he played it really well. So congratulations to Chill Phil, a very deserving champion. This was one of the most stacked RBETs ever. A lot of these players have, like, won major tournaments. Swifty's, like, number 5 on the ladder or something like that. Dad 100's won an Ultimate Time Wizard. I don't know much about Keza, but yeah, some of these other players. Scoosh is apparently a very strong player from, I think, Boston. Yeah, Duck Tracy, repeat top. Avalanche, don't know much about Avalanche, but Ungo's a repeat top as well. So yeah, very, very stacked, very, very stacked tournament. There was a lot of top players in it. And so yeah, that brings me to the 9th place special deck list that made it all the way to 9th place, almost made it into top 8, but was defeated by the powerful Swifty on his God run with Quick Draw. And this is William Yawn's Exodia Dragon Turbo deck. This deck is crazy. If you look at the sideboard, it's just all red circles, which is nuts. We actually saw him win a match on stream with Exodia, which is a first. Actually crazy. So close to making it the top 8. I mean, imagine putting Exodia in the top 8 of an Edison RBET. That'd be really crazy. And I think it does have potential. This list looked crazy. I mean, game 1 is just like standard Dragon Turbo. And then game 2, you side into all these stall cards, like 6 Floodgates and a bunch of back row. And your opponent just can't out them because they sided out their Typhoon and their Heavy. And you just have a bunch of stall cards, and then you just stall them out infinitely, because a lot of decks, once they lose all their spell and trap removal, they just die to level limit skill drain, plus Exodia in deck. So it was really, really cool to watch him do that sort of transformative side situation and actually win a game on camera with Exodia. I think that's a first for me. I haven't seen Exodia win a competitive Edison match on camera. I mean, I've played meme Exodia decks on the channel before, but nothing to this degree, like late stage RBET battle for top cut match with Exodia. So that's really, really hype. Shout out to William for being ballsy enough to put 5 pieces of Exodia in his sideboard. Yeah, and shout out to everyone who contributed to this event and to this season. RBET Rulers is coming up November. Shit, what is the date of RBET Rulers? It's in the Discord in the events tab. You can find the date of it. If you have your invite, make sure you're in the Discord and make sure you're ready to face off against the best players in the world. And once again, if you guys want to play an RBT next season, that kicks off February 15th and 16th. So make sure and sign up before this one is sold out. See you guys in the next one. Peace.